declare the meeting open, and this advised by members of the public by being in attendance that you consent to having your voice or image streamed, part of the city's live streaming policy. Could I call upon Deputy Mayor to welcome us to country?
Thank you, Your Worship. I begin by acknowledging my elders past and present. Ngalak nina kuro ngalanos neja nunga buja. Nunga matjerba nenina na kwabarak nunga buja kuralong. From the beginning of time till the end, this is Noongar country. Noongar people have been graceful keepers of our nation for many, many years. Jinadin Kadajin Jerpa Nijawer, Noongar Bojangala Maya Maya Burda. Look, listen, understand, and embrace all the elements of Noongar country that is forever our home. Kaiwan Jungan Court Jerpa Nija Noongar Boja Darsley Wangani Noongar Boja. Hello and welcome. Made us happy as we gathered on country and meeting here on Noongar country.
It too gives me great pleasure to welcome you all here, and before commencing proceedings, I'd like to acknowledge that we come together tonight on the traditional land of the Noongar people and pay my respects to elders past and present. Could I call upon Councillor Sargent to do the dedication?
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Feasy. May we, the elected members of the City of Kwinana, have the wisdom to consider all matters before us with due consideration, integrity and respect for the Council Chamber. May the decisions made be in good faith and always in the best interest of the greater Kwinana community that we serve.
Attendance apologies, leave of absence previously approved. Neil, is there any questions from the public? Neil? Petitions? Councillors have any petitions to present? Presentations? I don't believe we have any deputations. Confirmation of minutes. 7.1, minutes of the ordinary council meeting held the 28th of November. Is there any additional information?
No.
Questions? 26th of November? Yes? Definitely the 26th of November, 7.1. Would someone like to move that way? Move Deputy Mayor, seconded Councillor Acker. Either councillor wish to speak? Speak against? Put to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. Item 8, declaration of interest. Deputy Mayor? Sorry, can you turn your microphone on?
Sorry, Your Worship. Item 18.6, the election of the presiding member and deputy presiding member. I was have a register a conflict of impartiality.
Thank you. Any other interests? Do you know that? No. Request for leave of absence? No? Nothing on item 10, 11, 12, 12.1, minutes of the Bullamara Aboriginal Consultative Committee meeting held on the 8th of December. Is there any additional information? Any questions? Someone like to move that way? Move Deputy Mayor, seconded Councillor Sargent. Either councillors wish to speak? Councillor Sargent, speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. There's nothing on item 13. Item 14, 14.1, Kwinana Early Years Strategy 26 to 29. Is there any additional information? No. Would the director maybe introduce this policy?
The Kwinana Early Years Strategy has come about from the Australian Early Development Census scores that we saw in 2023, I think, where we sourced funding from state and state government to develop an early years census due to the vulnerability of our community and our children. It's been a work in progress and significant community engagement over the last 12 months, including the appointment of a full-time early years officer to develop the strategy. And this will be a core document for us in seeking future funding and also working with community to really improve the early years and our young children and families in Kwinana.
Do councillors have any questions? Councillor Sargent?
Thank you, Mayor Feasy. With attachment on page 32, there is a which suburb you live in graph. Can I please ask if there's multiple suburbs that are recognised by the same colour, whether the city could speak to, as this is the draft for the final presentation, that might be able to read clearer as to the percentages relating to which suburb, please?
Yep, so looking at this graph, and you are right, this is a draft and it will go to the graphic designer once approved by council. There are some colours that are quite closely matched. So the yellow, the 30 or 20.4% is Bertram.
Another question?
Thank you, Mayor Feasy. Okay, attachment page 42, point 2.4. Can the city please speak to this critical point and how they can advocate for services that have state and federal funding to provide these services for Kwinana? How they will, we can advocate that they will deliver these services in Kwinana, as often these fundings go to organisations that provide region-based supports and do not always operate or advertise their service provision to Kwinana residents.
Through the chair. I didn't press it hard enough. So through the chair, this is work that's already commenced, particularly in regards to child adolescent health services. So we are advocating state and federal government for future funding and also health provisions within Kwinana, because it is a major barrier for our community travelling to destinations. We're also targeting smaller community organisations and opportunities to bring additional funding into Kwinana with local services as well. It is definitely one of those challenges when the funding is looked at through a national level, but we are working with how we can partner with local organisations just as much as seeking major funding for child adolescent health services.
Another question?
Thank you, Mayor Feasy. Okay. On page 43 of the attachments, with commitment 4 and 5, is there a way for the City of Kwinana to request from state and federal government that service agreements with funded organisations within this space notify the City of Kwinana when funded to support Kwinana children and families, so that this can be clearly added to communications?
Through the chair. Two elements here. We can definitely request it, and we are working very closely with state and federal government, all different organisations, to work with them around funding that comes into local organisations. As well as that, we are part of this process has formed a early years working group and our community services working group as well, are really fundamental to us working with local organisations and community service groups as well, to make sure we've got a twofold approach, not just government, but the community service agencies, so that we're helping them and we're better informed on what funding is coming into Kwinana.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mine is simply, are there any plans to report back on the progress of this strategy over the 4-year period?
Through the chair, this has been identified and this is in our corporate business plan, so there's a reporting process through there. I think it's in our strategic plan as well, but there is the strategic reporting lines, and we would also provide general updates to council as well.
Any other questions? Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, Worship. Just in line with once the strategy has been adopted, for us as Kwinana to achieve the outcomes for the vulnerable people in our community, is there going to be any future ways that there's going to be staffing to meet some of those commitments along the way, so that we can achieve some of those outcomes?
Through the chair, that's a key part of the advocacy for programming and services. So we are aiming to seek some significant external funding, which we're actually in discussion with at the moment, to deliver these outcomes, particularly around the community programming and delivery of services.
Any other questions? Someone like to move that way? Moved Councillor Sargent, seconded Deputy Mayor. Councillor Sargent?
Thank you, Mayor Feasey. I would like to commend all facets that the City of Kwinana has engaged in this process for this body of work to address what are very concerning statistics for our children, our future generations. Transport advocacy is vital to improving connections, support, accessibility and utilisation of services, and the fact that you have addressed multiple facets, including as well as championing Kwinana-based health and support services that can work in a true integrated fashion to give wraparound supports to those often in vulnerable circumstances to be able to grow and thrive within our community. Advocating for adequate health providers access for our community is of utmost importance to ensure this strategy, if able to be applied to its full potential, will enable our community's children to develop, to have safety, caring and support, to hopefully reduce these statistics of disadvantage for our future generations of children in Kwinana. So I ask my fellow councillors to please support the work that the City of Kwinana is doing in this space. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, Worship. Echo the sentiments of my fellow councillor in relation to her summary. This is a very important piece of work for our community. We are a growing community and we are becoming one of the most diverse communities in the metro area, and it's pleasing to see that the strategies are quite broad and trying to ensure that they are inclusive and they are out there to give all families the opportunity to engage and for our young people to thrive. Thank you.
Anyone speak against? Put the item to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. There's nothing on item 12, 16, 16.1, tree planting and watering services. Is there any additional information? Questions? Councillor Acker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can the city speak, are there any survival rate benchmarks built into the contract at all?
Through the chair, no, the contract doesn't do that, and we actually, and this is something we've raised with the council before in our discussions about the urban tree strategy or forest strategy, is our data on survival rates isn't great, and it's something that we're looking at into the future, how we start to map our survival rate and what we're putting in place to make sure we have a higher rate of survival. It is a contract that is actively managed, so we have a lot more control about the success of the trees than our contractor does. Essentially, they put them into the ground in accordance with the specification, which we write and we supervise, and then there's a watering program which we oversee and we ensure that the watering program is met. The best way to get really good survival rate is our engagement with our community and getting additional watering through our community. So that's something else we'll be looking at as we progress the additional trees we're looking to plant.
Any other questions? Someone like to move the item? Moved Councillor Sargent, seconded Councillor Rouse. Any councillors wish to speak?
Thank you, Mayor Feasey. I just want to commend the City of Kwinana for doing your due diligence in this space, knowing that the urban canopy you've looked at all of the considerations, and the way that the tender was presented was very thorough, and I'm glad to see that this is progressing forward. Thank you.
Councillor Rouse?
Nothing further, Your Worship.
Anyone speak against? The motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. 17.1, minor amendments to the local planning policy 9, advertisements, signage. Any additional information?
No.
Questions? Someone like to move that way? Moved Councillor Sargent, seconded Councillor Penny. Would either councillors wish to speak? Speak against? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. 17.2, proposed road names for 819 Thomas Road Development, Anketel. Is there any additional information or any suggestions of swapping out the names that have been selected? No? No questions? We sure? Someone like to move the list of names as outlined in the report? Councillor Wood and Councillor Acker. Would either councillors wish to speak on the road names? Anyone speak against? Put to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. And 17.3, another lot of proposed road names for Anketel North development. Any amendments to the names? Someone like to move that way? Moved Councillor Rouse, seconded Councillor Brown. Would either councillor wish to speak? No, thank you. Anyone speak against? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. 18.1, local law review, local government property, local law. Is there any additional information?
No.
Questions? Councillor Brown?
Thank you, Your Worship. So my questions are in relation to 2.8, and I'll just read out the short statement so we're aware of what I'm referring to. 2.8, activities which may be prohibited on specified local government property. 1, a determination may provide that a person is prohibited from pursuing all or any of the following activities on specified local government property. A, fly a drone or other remotely piloted aircraft. So my first question is, drones in Australia are primarily governed by the Civil Aviation Safety Authority, or CASA, which sets national rules for all drone flights, recreational and commercial, under Part 101 of the Civil Aviation Safety Regulations. Can the City confirm that our local law does not come into conflict with CASA's regulatory function? And if it does not, how does the City's local law complement it?
Through the chair, no, it doesn't. The CASA regulations provide for flying drones, particularly if you've got a lower class of licence, flying drones over public land or land with permission. So this is a clause that allows us to give permission or, in effect, withdraw permission to fly drones. And you'll often see that in National Park where there's restrictions, and you'll see the signs. So it's a similar mechanism where, but for the removal of permission under the CASA rules, you could fly. So it's our way to say in some locations you can't fly.
Thank you. Just a follow-up question off the back of that. In regards to that determination, I guess, to prohibit in a certain area, could you shed some light on what that process would be? And is the intent to implement a blanket prohibition of sorts, or I guess are we targeting specific areas to be drone prohibited zones, and if so, where?
Through the chair, the provisions in the local law aren't put in there with the intent that we're going to start enacting this type of restriction. Without reading the very detail of the local law, just a quick reading, it looks like it will require a decision of council to do that, and that's separate to existing CASA rules, such as not flying over members of the public within 30 metres. So things like major events, we don't need to put in place this type of restriction because that restriction already exists in the federal legislation. So this would be about where we need to address likely a nuisance, where we're getting complaints about nuisance flying of drones, and we might want to address that. But it's outside of that, it's highly unlikely we would be looking to use that provision. It's just there if we need it.
Okay. And just one last question, if I may. I guess some in this room may not be aware that there is a club called the West Coast Multi-Rotor Club, who in the past, and I believe continues to utilise City of Kwinana property for drone racing and other events. Could you confirm that, I guess, off the back of this, there will be no change to their activities as it stands today?
Through the chair, No, the intent of this wouldn't be to stop them. They're a really successful club. They had the state drone championships out here at Thomas Oval a couple of weeks ago, and it really has come about from they couldn't find a location that was suitable from noise complaints and everything, and we worked with them very closely to find a location that's suitable, and it's really become a draw card for Kwinana having the drone club here.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Rouse?
Thank you, Worship. Just in relation to the officer's recommendation under the purpose, should that be with the exception of thoroughfares?
I suspect so, yes. Yeah, it will be. Through the chair, it will be, so we will get you to move that amendment.
Someone like to move? Oh, questions? Councillor Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Just given that the vote is to commence public consultation, can there be clarification about how existing permits would be treated if the local law is ultimately adopted, so as in a grandfather clause or a grace period for these permits?
Through the chair, providing a permit's required under the new local law and it was already within the old local law, we would just carry them through to the new local law. So there wouldn't be a change in any permission that's already been given. Yeah.
Any other questions? Councillor Penny?
Thank you. Just in Division 4, toilet blocks and change rooms, 5.8, regarding the specified gender and use of toilet blocks and change rooms. Are those clauses in keeping with contemporary practice and understanding across local governments in terms of gender-neutral bathrooms and provision for people who identify as a different gender? I'm also aware that that's attached to a potential fine. So, I just wanted to seek clarification if there'd been research or work done around what the contemporary practice is across local governments.
So was that 5.4?
Sorry, 5.8. It's under Division 4, 5.8, and it's on page 186.
Through the chair, I'll answer, and our director might add to the answer. So, the way signage is applied to toilets and public toilets is determined by the building code. So we can't. We have to have as a minimum that particular signage and that particular availability of toilets. We can go over and above that. And so even in our own office building, we have male toilets, female toilets, and a separate signed gender-neutral toilet to make sure that we have facilities available for everyone. But when we do sign, then the local law provides the ability to, and you can imagine there are situations where we do want this type of provision, but that doesn't necessarily mean on every single day we're out there policing this type of thing.
Through the chair, one of the considerations for this property law as well is some of our facilities where there are children, like the Kwinana Aquatic, where we do need to consider, we've got our gender neutral toilets, but there is a need for the gender specific toilets as well.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Someone like to move with the amendment? Moved Councillor Rouse, seconded Deputy Mayor. Either council wish to speak?
No, thank you.
Speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried.
Just have to do the reading of the purpose and the effect now.
So just I'm required to read the purpose and effects. So to regulate the care, control, and management of all property of the local government and with the exception of thoroughfares. This is very small writing. Effect to repeal the Town of Kwinana local government property local law and to control the use of local government property. Some activities are permitted only under permit or under determination, and some activities are restricted or prohibited. Offences are created for inappropriate behaviour in or on local government property. Item 18.2, monthly financial reports, October 25. Any questions? Someone like to move that way? Moved Councillor Sargent, seconded Councillor Wood. Either councillor wish to speak? Speak against? Put to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. 18.3, monthly financial report, November 25. Again, any additional information? Question?
Yes, please.
Councillor Sargent.
Thank you, Mayor Feasy. On attachment page 284, can the city speak to the Bertram Road footpath that is $7,000 over budget and still in process, to why the costs have gone above budget, and if there are any more costs expected for completion, please?
Through the chair, the project is, if you have a look, the way we report is year to date. So there was an estimated expenditure to date put in at the start of the financial year. So the fact that it's showing as year to date over budget is because we're ahead of schedule. So it's not because it's an over budget, it's because we're beating our original estimate and we're delivering the works faster.
Any other questions? Someone like to move that way? Moved Councillor Sargent, seconded Councillor Wood. Either councillors wish to speak? Speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. Item 18.4, new council policies. Any additional information? Questions? Someone like to move those? Councillor Miller? Move. Seconded. Councillor Sargent. Either councillor wish to speak? Councillor Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm moving this item because child safety is not something we should treat as routine. I can personally say I've seen the harm abuse can cause to people through a personal friend of mine, and these policies are an important first step in making sure our organisation is clear, accountable and a genuinely safe place for children, and I strongly encourage all my fellow councillors to vote for.
Who seconded it? Councillor Sargent?
No, thank you.
Anyone speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. 18.5, council payment for month ended 30 November. Questions?
Yes, please.
Councillor Sargent?
Thank you. On attachment page 306, can the council please clarify, there's a catering cost but it doesn't have a description next to what the catering is for. The provider was All Good Grub and it was $3,755.40.
I would suggest citizenship, but I may have stolen the director's thunder, but Director?
Through the chair, that is the citizenship, the Noongar Catering Company that does citizenship.
Any other questions? They do good grub.
They definitely do, but it didn't have an explanation.
Any other questions? Someone like to move that way? Moved Councillor Wood, seconded Councillor Sargent. Either councillor wish to speak?
No, thank you.
Speak against? Put the item to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. 18.6, appointment of presiding member and deputy presiding member, Bullamara Aboriginal Consultative Committee, and a note that Deputy Mayor is a declaration of impartiality. Any additional information? Someone like to move that way? Moved Councillor Sargent, seconded Councillor Penny. Either councillors wish to speak?
Yes.
Councillor Sargent?
Thank you, Mayor Feasy. Again, the Bullamara Advisory Committee is a fantastic progressive step the City of Kwinana has done to make sure that all voices are heard, inclusion is considered, and has given us meaningful reports in the time that I've sat on council. And it is a great honour to again see our wonderful Deputy Mayor, Mr Barry Winmar, and his deputy stepping into this role to continue to give high-level support to the council to ensure that we have all information from multiple aspects when addressing and looking at best practice in governance in our community in the City of Kwinana. So congratulations on your nominations, and it's a proud day to move this.
Thank you. And the seconder was Ivy. Sorry, Councillor Penny. Would you like to speak, Councillor Penny? Anyone speak against? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. There's nothing on 19. 20, is there any late or urgent business?
Oh, no.
That's you.
Yes, nothing on the agenda, no.
Councillors' reports. Just before councillors' reports start, I will just bring to your attention section 3.10 of the standing orders, which clearly states at any meeting of council, an elected member appointed by council to a committee or external organisation may provide a brief verbal report on the progress of that committee or organisation. B, an elected member that has attended a function on behalf of the city may provide a brief verbal report on that function, and the mayor can say what he likes in the mayoral announcements. Deputy Mayor. Councillor Acker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since the last council meeting, I attended the Bushfire Advisory Committee with Councillor Miller, which he'll speak to. I also attended the Kwinana Senior Citizens Committee meeting on Monday. All went well, just a couple operational issues. It's noted that councillors do not have a vote at their committee meetings, and their financial reports were not accepted. There's an issue with the treasurer getting into zero at the minute, so as soon as she gets into zero, she can tidy that up. And yeah, they're taking a well-deserved break and gearing up for the new year. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just briefly, on the 12th of December, last Friday, I did represent His Worship and the City of Kwinana at the Leader Primary School Year 6 Leavers Ceremony. Alongside Councillor Wood, who was representing Premier Roger Cook, we did present a number of awards to very deserving students. And after the event had concluded, I did speak with a number of Leader Primary School stakeholders who wished to thank the City of Kwinana for a great relationship and the ongoing support, especially in the early years space. Thank you.
Councillor Miller.
Very briefly, like Councillor Acker said, on the 27th of November, I attended a Bushfire Advisory Committee meeting, of which Councillor Acker was appointed the chair and I was appointed deputy chair. I'm pleased to report that during the meeting, the DFES representative specifically commended the city's volunteer firefighters, noting that their standards are above expectation and effectively textbook. I just want to say quickly, as we enter the peak of fire season, which also coincides with Christmas and the holiday period, I want to acknowledge the extreme pressures this time places on our volunteers, and I want to thank them and wish them happy holidays. That is all.
Thank you, Councillor Miller. Councillor Penny. Councillor Rouse.
Thank you, Your Worship. I represented yourself at the PCAX Junior School Awards and the PCAX Senior School Awards on the 27th and 4th of December. And I thank you for providing me the opportunity. Then on Tuesday, the 2nd December, I chaired the Local Emergency Management Committee meeting. No significant reports to note. All agencies doing a wonderful job in keeping us safe and ready and fully prepared to respond to any emergency should it arise. Thank you.
Councillor Sargent. Councillor Wood. There is no answers to questions. Mayoral announcements. I have attended many graduations. I won't single them out, and thank you to the councillors that did represent me where I couldn't attend those graduations. I attended on behalf of the city the 16 Days in WA launch campaign in Rockingham, along with Mayor Buchan from the city of Rockingham. Very well attended event by many service providers around domestic violence in our community and also Rockingham. I attended on the 2nd of December, International, along with Councillor Miller, the Work Power International's Day of People with Disabilities at Call-In, which was a great event. And on the 10th of December, I had the pleasure of presenting Nulla Yorga Wankan's Aboriginal Group of the Year award at their end of year celebration. So they were one of the award winners under the Change to the Community Awards. I attended on Sunday the 14th, along with the Catholic Archbishop, a ceremony to bless the new statues at St Vincent's Parish, who this year is celebrating their 70th anniversary here in Kwinana. And lastly, just to remind the community, the city's Lolly Run started tonight. Check out the city's Facebook page. There is a live tracker, which is working well. I can see it now. I believe a number of councillors are on the back of trucks over the next 6 days. So I wish you a safe journey on those trucks, unless, of course, you're with Mrs. Greaves and be concerned. That is about it. I just wish the councillors and the executive a Merry Christmas and hope everyone has a very safe New Year. And I declare the meeting, there is no confidential items. And I declare the meeting closed at 6:37. Thank you for attending.